Wisconsin is one of the country's most politically important states, and that's especially true this year with close races for governor and U.S. Senate topping the ballot. But a string of court rulings have mandated changes to the way Wisconsinites vote, and with the election just 2 weeks out, some questions are still pending.
We attempt to give the voters the best information that we can, and when that information changes, it impacts the voters a lot. And it causes a lot of confusion. We get a lot of questions into our office. People are panicked.
One big change is the lack of drop boxes. In July, the Wisconsin Supreme Court deemed them illegal and said voters can only return their absentee ballots through the mail or by handing it directly to their local clerk. But for those choosing the personal delivery option, the rules for doing so are strict.
Sometimes if we have a couple and they drive together to the office, and one of them walks in with both ballots, we have to say, unfortunately, we can only take your ballot. We have to have them switch in the car and the other person come in and drop off their ballot.
A federal court ruling in late August established the only exception to that rule. People with a disability are allowed to have someone else turn in their ballot, no documentation required. Another recent change deals with ballot curing. Wisconsin mail-in ballots must be signed by a witness, and their address must be written on the envelope. For the past 6 years, clerks were allowed to fill out incomplete address information for witnesses, like a missing zip code. But an October court order said not anymore.
And sometimes we would get a couple's absentee ballot at the same time. You can clearly see the signature matches one voter's signature to the witness signature and the other one, and vice versa. And a witness address may be missing on that we could reasonably determine that that is the witness's address. And a recent court ruling has said that we are unable to do that.
But the state court judge's decision didn't address what a complete address includes. So officials in Madison and Milwaukee are urging voters to make sure their witness information lists the full street, city, state, and zip code to help ensure ballots don't get thrown out on a technicality. Now, the rules for voting by mail, or absentee voting as some states call it, it really varies state by state. Sometimes even local jurisdictions can have different days and times where people are allowed to vote. Most important thing is check the rules where you live. But the advice from that deputy clerk in Madison was probably pretty good advice for folks nationwide. He said today is the last day that he says voters should be putting their absentee ballots in the mail for returning via USPS. He says after today, find an alternative way to turn in your ballot to make sure that it gets there on time and before the deadline. Either walk it in person, use a drop box if that's allowed where you live.